How to become a BMW Motorsport race car driver for a day. You heard me. Yes, even you can drive a BMW M4 GT4 race car. And in this video, I'm going to show you what I experienced while at the Thermal Race Club doing a deep dive into the world that is the BMW Performance Driving School. Something I knew existed, but completely blew me and my expectations away once I got started. So strap in. I'm about to take you along for the ride and make you seriously consider investing in yourself by getting some proper track time behind the wheel of a full-blown GT4 while getting coached by world-class professional racing instructors. Now, I'd normally start at the beginning, but since you're here to see what it's like to drive a GT4, I'll skip to the dessert. And then we can work our way backwards so you can have a full understanding of what the experience is like. Meet Dusty Renteria. He's a BMW Motorsports race support engineer. He's also the guy who sets up and preps every single GT4 race car to ensure they're performing at their maximum. And right now, he's helping me get strapped in. At the helm of the pack, we've got a proper race car driver, David Thelenius, who has competed and won at the Nürburgring 24 Hours on multiple occasions. He's driving the G80 M3, and he's taken us out for some warm-up laps. And now, well, I'll let the cars do the talking. Okay, you got a taste of the dessert, but don't worry, we'll get back to it. Let me show you the rest of the adventure leading up to this so you can get a full picture of what this trip was like, just in case you want to do it yourself. Now, BMW owns and manages two performance driving schools, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast. And because I live in Seattle, my adventure begins by boarding a plane bound for Los Angeles. Once I arrive, I jump into this G82 M4 competition that BMW provided in this stunning individual frozen purple metallic. With keys in hand and a tank full of gas, I make my way east on a 2-hour drive to Palm Springs, because that's where BMW manages their West Performance Driving Center, at the Thermal Race Club. It's exactly 8:30 in the morning. I park the M4 and step outside, where I'm immediately greeted by Matt Misko, the operations manager and general boss of all that the Southern California sun touches here at the driving center. I meet some of the amazing staff on site and run through my primary purpose and reason for heading out to Thermal, and that is to experience the brand new G82 M4 GT4 race car. I would be part of the very first class and be one of the first drivers to get behind the wheel of what is, for all intents and purposes, the crown jewel in the M School program offered here at the Performance Driving Center. Now, although most of us have been driving for a while, it's one thing to drive a high-performance vehicle fast on track, and a whole different proposition to take on a proper Bavarian beast of a race car that was designed with one sole purpose: to win races. Matt assured me, though, that the professional instructors at the school would work with our class to educate, inform, prep, and coach us all on both classroom theory as well as through practical application via on-track experience. All of this so that we may feel confident and ready to take on the GT4. And so we step inside the classroom and begin our short but vital education in how to work our way towards being able to handle a race car. Inside is where I meet Marco Robello, one of the drivers attending the course. Marco, as it turns out, is the motorsports manager at Continental Tire for the whole of the Americas, and he's particularly excited for our stint on the track today. After chatting with him for a bit, I found out that that's because Continental Tire has been partnering with the BMW Performance Driving School as their official tire partner for over a decade. In addition to that, he tells me that when BMW Performance Driving School started with their GT4 program, they contacted Continental to develop a tire specifically for their needs. So they got to work in order to design and engineer a tire with BMW's exacting needs. That's how the Continental BMW M4 GT4 slick tire was born. It was designed and engineered by the Continental Racing Department and manufactured by their racing plant here in the US. Now, at the head of the classroom, Dave McMillan leads the course. His automotive racing journey started in the 80s, having raced off-road trucks in Mexico in the famous Baja 1000, and then later road racing in Formula cars. He walks us through foundational teachings like entry speed, car control, understanding the race line, and of course general nuggets of wisdom that he's accrued over the years that help foster healthy race etiquette. This is all vital information because as we take on the day, we'll be progressing through different cars and scenarios. From the G87 M2s running autocross sessions, onwards to the M4s which will be pushing on the high-speed course, and finally culminating with the M4 GT4. It's all part of a methodical and structured approach designed to build confidence and experience while having fun. Next up, David, who you met earlier, helps us pick our race suits, helmets, and gloves so we can set them aside for later in the day. Right now, it's time to hit the track for some autocross. After a few orientation laps from the instructor, we're let loose by a staggered launch approach. This way, we can all have a little bit of a buffer space in between us as we do our best to tackle the course as quickly and as efficiently as possible. One of the cool things that stood out to me was that every event that we did, we always had in-car radios, which meant that we could receive live and precise feedback from the instructors. Every ace corner or every mistake, every early break or late apex. They saw it all and they expertly provided us with constructive feedback in a manner that didn't make you feel like a dummy behind the wheel. And that's a gift, let me tell you.
James, slow it down and don't turn until you get to me. There you go. So that was good. Now just turn it more when you get here to get back to that apex count.
We did a few stints with periodic pit stops to cool ourselves down and hydrate. And then we'd get right back out there and run some more laps because honestly, there's no better teacher than experience. It's at this point where I wanted to get some extra laps inside one of the instructors' cars while they were doing the high-speed lead-follow events. I wanted to see how they do it with my own eyes. So I jumped on board with Byron, who showed me just how much more I had to learn. Although, to be fair, he does have over 25 years of experience, some of it even behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car. So there's that. Please take note, he's driving with one hand, holding a radio in the other hand, while providing observational feedback to everyone on track. What a legend.
Focus, heavy on the brakes, looking right, releasing them gently, turning gently, little rotation there, squeeze throttle, on the brakes, off of them, looking left. You're slowly catching the other group, keep doing what you're doing. Closer to the curving, breathe the throttle, I'll drop back a little bit more, there you go, there you go.
It was now lunchtime, so we all headed back inside to freshen up a bit and enjoy some food that was prepared upstairs by the on-site chefs. The vibes were right and the atmosphere was one of excitement and energy. And that's not at all attributed to the fact that there's a soft serve ice cream machine with all of the delectable toppings you could want. No, it was mostly because everyone was buzzing with adrenaline and endorphins given the on-track epicness that was just had. And we were just a quarter of the way through the day. With lunch over, it was time for us to hit the high-speed course and upgrade to the G82 M4 cars. Our very own high-speed lead-follow session was about to commence, forcing us to maximize and leverage everything we've learned so far, meaning we had to apply the theory and the practice all into one smooth lap, over and over, again and again. If the M2s tested your technical skills and quick vehicle positioning on track at lower speeds, the M4s required you to push yourself and be comfortable blasting down the straightaway at over 130 miles an hour, looking for your brake zone markers and aiming for that apex at a much higher rate of speed. This was a different experience altogether, and it raised the bar by quite a few octaves. Pushing the M4s on track was a thrill, and finding the balance between too much throttle and not enough as you danced that fine line of grip, turn, and acceleration was amazing. The freedom and the safety of being able to do all of this in a controlled environment on a FIA-certified racetrack with a world-class professional driver leading the pack and providing you with helpful feedback was one of the most liberating, therapeutic, and educational automotive experiences that I've ever been a part of. With the M4 high-speed course wrapped up, we head back to the facility to prep for the main event, the GT4. We start by meeting up with David, who gives us a full rundown of the GT4 and all of its beautiful interior and exterior intricacies. We get a closer look at the inside of the cockpit and are taught the startup sequence and also how to operate some of the key onboard controls.
Want to make sure this is up and locked before we hop in and out. Seat always locks you in the same place here. So what we do is we move the controls to us. Pedals are on this release handle here. The brake pedal efforts in these cars are extremely high. Good right foot braking beats bad left foot braking every time. All right, it'll give you the gear you're in, RPM, speed, brake pressure. This one's very important. You're going to want to be able to generate about 80 bar to get these cars stopped, okay? It is a lot. They are full manual brakes. It's a GT3 type brake system. There's nobody helping you out. You might need 2 feet, put both feet on it. It takes a lot to get these cars stopped, but we need to push that brake pressure that hard to activate the ABS system. It's looking for that kind of pressure input, okay? So attack it.
Afterwards, we head back inside to suit up, and it's at this moment that I feel as though I'm living and actively experiencing a childhood dream of mine. I'm about to suit up in a BMW race suit, put on a BMW race helmet and gloves, and will shortly get inside of a BMW Motorsports built race car that was readied and prepped by a full-blown race support engineer from BMW Motorsports in order to do some high-speed track driving. If there ever was a bucket list item for car enthusiasts that love the BMW brand, this would be at the very top of that list. But enough talk, it's time to jump in and see just what the GT4 race car is all about. Now, aside from feeling like you're strapped inside of a land-based rocket secured down by the race harness, Hans device, and helmet plus gloves combo, the first thing I noticed was the instant pedal response. It's almost like the accelerator has a cable patched into your brain, and the instant you want to go, it responds within a flash. The second thing that becomes immediately noticeable is the steering response, in that the car feels like it's planted on rails. I have never felt more confident inside of a vehicle in my entire life. And I'm sure that's in part due to the suspension setup, as well as the aerodynamic components, and of course, the specific GT4 Continental slick tires that Marco was talking about earlier. After an orientation lap, which allowed us to get comfortable in the cars, David gives the all clear and we punch it. The very first corner that we approach at high speed, my eyes get about as wide as 2 frying pans. The brakes. My God, the brakes. They require a ton of force in order to activate the ABS assistance because there's not a whole lot happening down low. So take note, don't be shy with the braking force. Next up, it's all about learning where you can push further than you could in the normal M4 simply because of the amount of extra grip you can find. And once again I say, the level of confidence that I felt in this car puts every other car I've ever driven to shame. Truly, the answer to everything is race car. With each lap, our confidence grew and we started to put pressure on David, and in that moment, another epiphany hit me. This whole experience legitimately feels like a Born in M-Town teaser clip. And I have to tell myself that this is actually happening on multiple occasions. The roar of the engine, the immediacy of the accelerator, the urgency of the brakes, and the gravity-defying grip of the tires made it feel like driving an automotive fantasy come to life. So lap after lap, I soaked it all in. And I truly try to do my best to live in the moment, savoring every corner, enjoying every second of what is ultimately the drive of my life. I say this with zero reservation and without a shred of doubt in my heart. I want to do this again, and I will do this again. Nothing I've driven or experienced so far can compare to today. And given the sheer growth potential present and the talent on staff that are happy to teach and foster folks on their journey, attending more of these courses is an easy choice to make and one I'd recommend you try out for yourself. Trust me, you won't regret it. I've grown as a driver and I had an absolute blast while doing it with no worry or concern about anything. I was treated with respect, I was fed, I was educated, I was looked after, and all I had to do was select the course I wanted to attend and then show up. That is a testament to the physical facilities, the first-class instructors, and the coordination and planning required to get a program like this up and running in the first place. So, big kudos to Matt and his team for running such a world-class setup. I also want to give a big thanks to Marco and the entire Continental Tire crew. A ton of clips were made possible because of them. I had an absolute blast experiencing all of this firsthand. If it's not clear by now, I thoroughly recommend you check out the BMW Performance Driving Center website to see what classes speak to you and your driving style or specific areas of improvement that you'd like to tackle, including the M4 GT4 experience. And that's it for now. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Also, let me know if you've already attended any of the performance driving classes, and if so, share your thoughts. Thanks for hanging out with us. Until next time, be safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.